What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? We are
How's it going,
back.
my man?
How are you?
Great. Awesome. How are
Mm,
you? Good to
I'm
see you.
doing well. Good to see you too. And we have officially turned the page here at Number India, Number RCB Cricket Podcast. IPL is over. We are shifting our attention to a huge upcoming test series.
Before we do that,
Yeah,
hearty congrats, man. 18 long years, but it was everyone except the other finalists were happy.
appreciate you. Appreciate you. We are on to a major test series, major test series. And we are shifting gears. You know, the background has changed, the shirt has changed because it's India time. And we also have a new guest who I'd like to introduce now. Please give a big, warm welcome to Ojesh Patel from Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. And from Pune, India. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you. Thank you.
I should
Thanks
have
for
said that.
having me.
I should have said that.
No worries.
So we have Ojesh Patel here, longtime Indian cricket fan. We grew up together, and we're so excited to have him as our first non IPL show guest. Let's get straight into it. I want your initial thoughts on this landmark, this kind of new chapter series. Floor is yours.
Um, it's a new beginning, new cycle, right? 25, 27. I like India's got a very good chance. And let me give some context. You must have seen the schedule for all the tests, all the teams, right? We are one of the ones who are starting off having the hardest assignment of the 2 years.
That's true.
England is playing home, right? Australia is gonna host England at home. South Africa play England and Australia at home. We are playing an away first five series under a new captain, under practically a new coach, brand new team away in a Senna country. Can get harder than that, but we're biting the bullet right out of the gate. I think it's going to be baptism by fire, and
Absolutely.
as long as the leadership and every person just breathes easily and realizes that it's a long series and there'll be ample opportunities to come back, I think we're going to be fine. We're going to be just fine.
I have to say, I have always admired your optimism. Always, always. Wait, I think that's one of the differences between us. Where I think, I like to say pragmatic, but pessimistic in a different eye. I get it. I, I'm very excited for the series. I'll say that. I'm excited for the fresh team, fresh coach, fresh captain, fresh vice captain. I'm not as optimistic because of our batting woes, which have been well chronicled in England for 2 decades now. And I think that the batting looks really thin on paper, but I think that without Broad and Anderson, their bowling also looks a little bit weak on paper. So I do agree there's an opportunity. It's a question of whether or not we can grab it. And with the young team, I think that we might take our lumps a little bit in this series. Now, for the whole World Test Championship, that's different. I think the trajectory will improve because there's a lot of similarities between this team and Kohli taking over in 2014.
2014.
So I think that let's actually delve into the team selection now. Um, Before we do that, I want to ask you one more question. Do you like this name change?
Um, Honestly, it's a misnomer. Like an Indian, I'm gonna say border Gavaskar. Why is it on Gavaskar border? I know B comes before G, but Gavaskar's a bigger, better player than border.
True.
Here, Anderson Tendulkar, really? Tendulkar is gonna be the next, like the second name? Not really. But again, these are names. It's actually on one side, it makes sense to have like a name that the current and the most recent generations can identify. So fine. And the one thing I liked, I saw Tendulkar, I think, made the pitch to have the Patodi medal given
Yeah.
to the winning captain of each series. I think that continues. There's continuity there. That was good to
Yeah.
hear. So I'm fine with it. What
I,
do you
I
think?
mean, I mean, like, look, I'm the next generation fan. So Partardi Trophy, I had to look it up. I'll be honest. I didn't know why it was called Partardi Trophy. Looks like that guy played for both India and England. That's the significance.
Yep.
So, I like the name change because I like the competition in the name. And I have to say, like, BGT is so catchy. Like, when you
Yeah.
hear BGT, when you hear Border Glasgow Trophy, it's taken on a life of its own. So I think that you need something similar to that because England India is also very big series. Now, Anderson-Tendulkar series doesn't run off the tongue as much. It was ATT, but it's better than Pataudi, my opinion. So,
Yeah.
overall, I don't really care, but I think that this is
Yeah.
closer to the catchiness than the
Yeah.
old name.
Exactly. And well, we're gonna be the inaugural winner, so it's gonna get even better.
Hey, let's go. All right, let me pull up the master sheet here, and we've made some changes to the podcast also,
Okay.
where we can look at everything all in one instead of flashing back and forth. So, can you see my screen?
Yep. It's actually very nice. Well done.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. So, I'm going to put you on the spot here. You got a little bit of time to prepare. I put
Uh-huh.
in some of the guaranteed people into the 11.
Mhm.
Give me your India team for the first test at Headingley tomorrow.
I think we gotta put our best foot forward. Absolutely. Number three, I think Sudarshan is gonna get that. So regardless of like having a debutant, that's fine. Number six has to be Karun Nair. He's
I
got
like it.
experience. He's gonna be fine. Let's come back to seven. Jadeja has to be eight. And then Bumrah, I think, is number nine because I think he fancies himself as a number eight, let alone nine, but that's fine. Number
Okay.
nine, number 10 has to be Arshdeep, I think, but
Oh,
maybe
really?
Prasid. I think we need the left-hander.
Okay.
So
Let's come back to that.
yeah,
But you're saying Arsh, I put him first.
yeah,
What about
yeah.
11?
Siraj, obviously.
Like it. I like
So
it.
so I think seven has to be between the all-rounders, and I think Shardul should be in the team simply because he is he's got he's a Mumbai guy. He's Khadus that way, and he can bat as well as Nitesh Reddy. Nitesh Reddy, I think he gets if you put any of the big hitters in front of Nitesh Reddy bowling, I think that's not going to be good. So I think Thakur's got enough experience all over the place.
I really like this 11. Let me start by saying I'm a big fan of Sai Sudarshan. Huge
Mhm.
fan of Sai Sudarshan. Not just because of the IPL, just the eye test. I think that he has lots of time. And I
Yeah.
think that his game is more suited for Test match cricket than IPL. And he has all the shots in IPL. So I think he's very compact, and that will translate well to the Test game. Karun
Mhm.
Nair, yeah, I agree. You need some experience in the 11. So, he's not internationally experienced, but he's been around the block, and I think he'll provide some stability. I'm also a big fan of Shardul. I think, Shardul and NKR, they're basically like for like, and I would go with the experience there again. Plus, he's had some success in England. Jardel, I
Yep.
agree. Boomer, I agree. Now, here's where I don't agree. So, Arshdeep seems like a containing bowler, keeping the runs down bowler. When the conditions are helping, I want more viciousness in my attack. I understand what you're saying about having all three right arm fast bowlers and you want some change of angle. But I just don't see Arshdeep as a test bowler. But you do?
I do, and a couple reasons. One, the first test in Leeds, I think the weather has been extremely, extremely hot, so the conditions are probably not what they usually are. And I expected a lot more from Prasidh Krishna in Australia. I think where the conditions were good for everyone, and I don't think he delivered. So uh, I'm fine. Whichever 11 the captain and the coach put in front. Obviously, all of us are gonna support. I'm gonna support, but I think Arshdeep. Uh, I like Archie for the second reason is that we are against England at home. You remember the first ball of the Ashes last season,
Yeah.
right? They're gonna come hard, and they're gonna go hard at Shardul, but Shardul's been there, he can take the knocks. I think Arshdeep, because of what he faces in the T20 at the beginning, at the end, I think he's got a little more steel when people are coming hard at him. So my two
That's
reasons, but let's see what happens.
That's a very interesting point because you're basically going off of baseball a little bit, where if the batters, even in a test match, are playing more of an attacking brand, that plays into Arshdeep's favor. Actually, I like
Yep.
that point. So I'm gonna leave this as is because
That's fine.
you kind of actually brought me towards Arshdeep's side. I assumed Prasid after his IPL was almost a shoe in, but he kind of tailed off towards the end, and he just had basically one good session in Australia where he's troubling the batters in the fifth test.
Right.
So we'll see what they decide. One thing I don't want them to go with, you cannot pick two spinners in England. I understand the temptation.
Yeah.
Dry surface, hot weather, fourth and fifth day, they'll be purchased, but I don't want two spinners. We've been through this many times before. The
Yeah.
only time we've had recent success in England is with one spinner.
Yeah.
What do you
Didn't
think?
we play two spinners in the WTC final?
And how'd that go?
Yeah, exactly. No, not in
Yeah,
England, but there's a case to be made for Kuldeep. I know you got other things to cover, but I think Kuldeep should play at least a couple of tests.
maybe
I
in
I think,
Manchester.
yeah. So,
Maybe we'll get there.
yep.
So that's our team for the first test. Let's see how close we get. Let's move on to the England team. Now, what stands out with this playing 11 here?
Uh, the bowling beyond Vokes is hardly anything. I don't know, like Stokes in print, he looks like very fit, but he has not been bowling as much in the past few series. Admittedly, he was not fully up to it. But if Carr's tongue are getting carted around, and Bashir, we had his number. I mean, he had, I think,
Yeah,
one or two good tests in India, but again, that's in India.
yeah,
I don't think he's going to be a problem. We are actually going to wait for him to come to the pitch. So I think the bowling is one of the reasons why, and everyone's been saying this, why our batting is probably not as dicey as it could have been. Even with one of Broad or Anderson there, it would have been completely different. So, having said that, I like whatever little I've seen of Josh Tongue and Cars. Who knows? But Vokes is like he's a handful. I
yeah.
think he's got an average of 21 at home. So we can't take them lightly. They're home, but I don't know who their reserves are. I don't know if like one of these guys breaks down, who they have to bring in. So as I keep saying, five tests is a long series. I think we should, even if the first test turns out bad for us, there's enough time. So let's see how it goes.
That's
Uh,
exactly what stood out for me too. The bowling is like it's almost like you see an Indian scorecard and you don't see Rohit and Kohli and you're like what is this? Same thing if you see English scorecard, you don't see Broad and Anderson. It's like what's going on? And
right.
then you start thinking like what happened to Ollie Robinson? What happened to Mark Wood? Jofra, where's he? And then there's Gus Atkinson played
Atkinson.
a few times. All of them are either injured. I think all of them are injured actually. So
They're on the mend. I mean,
two of them.
every single one of them is on the mend, and obviously ECB being ECB, they keep saying India series is really important, but obviously their eyes are on the Ashes. They want to get that back. So all of these three or four bowlers, they are going to be in prime shape when it's time to fly to Sydney or Melbourne, whatever it is. But
Agreed.
that's the other point, that yes, it's a five series for us at the beginning of the cycle, but they're not putting the best bowlers in front of us. So it's a big opportunity for us. And when England goes to for the Ashes, they're gonna beat each other up, Australia and England, and that's gonna work, I think, in everyone else's favors, our favor later on. So let's see. I think
What do
it's
you
it's
think?
a good it's a good team for us to be facing first up.
I think it's a good team for our batters who are inexperienced to try to get a foothold in the series. I totally agree
Exactly.
there. But what do you make of their batting? Because that looks threatening.
If I were if I were uh, Shubman, I would say number three. And number four are the ones that I'm going to target right out of the gate. Ollie Pope, um, we should make sure he does not play more than one or two tests. He's on thin ice.
Yeah,
I don't think he has a very consistent record even at home. And
agreed.
Joe Root, I mean, he's at home. He's a legend. He's one of the top big four. So he's gonna do well. But I think between him and Harry Brook, I think if one of them has an average season, average series, I think we'll be in business.
Harry Brook for me is a very he brings out negative emotion in me. He's a guy that I dislike strongly. Let's put it that way. He has turned off IPL teams multiple times.
Mhm,
He famously made 100 in one of the early IPL matches a couple years ago. Said he shut everybody up, then couldn't score a run the rest of the tournament. He talks
mhm.
a lot for somebody who I don't think has accomplished enough to talk like that. My opinion. Now, having said that, he's the X factor to me because I agree with you that Joe Root is Joe Root. You can only contain him. I don't think you can totally just make him have a bad series. Their openers are a little bit hit or miss with Bazball. Ollie Pope, I agree, is on thin ice, but even if and when he fails, Jacob Bethel's waiting and he has a lot of hype. So I think
Mhm.
3 and 4 will be solidified. Harry Brook, if he has a good series, we can be in trouble because he's a dangerous player. But I
He
I
is.
think he's very inconsistent also.
Your point about Brook, I think he's like an enforcer, and I would have so liked Shreyas Iyer to be in the team.
Me too.
Shreyas Iyer would, I think he's got the same mindset as Harry Brook. They are very clear thinkers and they don't let the match situation pull them down. And so uh, Joe Root is gonna bat at 60, 65 strike rate. Brook comes in and he's 80, 90.
Yeah.
That's what Shreyas would have done for us. But again, I think maybe there's some politics that I don't know, we don't know, but I think we still have a good team. I think this will be a good team for us to bat against and bowl through.
I will go one step further. Definitely there's politics, which shares there's not being in the test team, but that's a topic for another day. We digress.
Yep.
All right. So, overall, they bat deep. Bowling looks weak. Opportunity for us. And there's a big opportunity for the golden boy, the prince,
Oh
as
boy.
I call him, Shubman Gill. Look, I'm gonna sound like I'm criticizing him or I'm not backing him, but I love the guy. The guy has supreme talent, and he's already proven that he's a gun 1 day player, gun T20 player, and gun test player at home. What I'm
Mhm,
focusing on is his away record because he is now in an important away series. So let's break it down. He's only played 32 tests, young in his career, only 25. He's averaging 35. That's fine. It's not good. It's not great. It's not bad. But the bulk of those runs have been scored at home. Almost
mhm,
1,200 of the 1,900 runs have been scored at home at an average of 42. Away from home, it really dips. His average dips to under 30. Then
mhm,
you break it down into the catchphrase nowadays, the Santa countries. He's
mhm,
never played in New Zealand, but he's played 11 matches in the other Santa countries. Now we're under 25. Then, I mean, small sample size in England, but he's played 3 matches in England. He averages 50. This is not. Um, I'm not encouraged by seeing this. Tell me I'm wrong, please.
Um, you're my host. I can say you're wrong, but I told you before the match, before the recording started, that we're gonna be unconventional. We are okay not believing the past that gives us that paints a picture that's not encouraging. That's fine.
Okay.
His record in England, uh, isn't it kind of like what Kohli had in 2024,
Yeah.
that he couldn't face a ball that he wouldn't nick?
In 14. Yeah.
Right. And what did he do? He turned around in the next two series. Why can't Shubman Gill start without having a 2014 like Kohli series? He can, he should. he will. And the reason why I say that is, yes, he's been anointed. He's like the golden boy, like you said. But I think captaincy can work wonders for a person's main job. His main
Okay.
job is not just batting, but opening. And he's taken like a fish to water at GT.
Yeah.
He had
True.
he had no captaincy experience. What did he do? He's taken them to the playoffs.
Yeah.
He had Ashish Nehra there. He's got someone from Delhi. He's got Gautam Gambhir here. He's got his teammates, many of them GT, and
Hmm.
I think he's got a good support cast from what I hear and read. I think he gets well along. He gets along well with Rishabh Pant as well. So Bumrah, I think, respects him as well. So there's nothing that should hold him back on paper. And I think I hope he comes out very aggressive. He just needs a 50.
Agreed.
150 in the first match. That's all he needs. And I think he'll be off. He's too good a player not to have a few really good series in the Siena countries. I hope and I think this can be one of them.
So let me be clear here. Are you saying that we should give him some space, and if he has a 2014 Kohli series in England, let him grow through it? Because I'm fine with that. Or on the other hand, are you saying that you're backing him to have a few bad tests in this series, but then come good?
Um, I think I'm saying a little bit of the first one, definitely not the second.
Okay.
He did not ask to be uh, to be made a captain of a five test away series, right? The BCCI could have taken the easy way out, and it would have been a very good farewell series for Kohli.
True.
Kohli actually was practicing for this series, right? You must have read.
Yeah.
So something went awry, and Kohli said, "I don't want to be there if Rohit's not there." So, and none of them would have played under each other, I guess. So that's the BCCI put Shubman Gill in this situation knowingly. So I don't think they have a choice but to back him. But I'm
Okay.
actually saying that he has enough of a backing and enough of good fortune in the sense that the weather is good and they don't have enough bowlers and all of that. That if he backs himself to play just a ODI type innings in one of the first two innings, I think he'll be off to the races. The mind is a very funny uh, part of the body. The more you keep it, the more simple you keep it, and the more optimistic you are, things fall in place. Sometimes it takes time, but we have time. As I said, five tests is a long series. What
If
do you
he
think?
if he has a good series, I'm not saying he can't have a good series. I'm saying odds are that
Hmm.
he's going to struggle a little bit. That's what I think. Not because he's a bad player, but because it's his first time really in England for a long series. These
What
three,
what were the odds of South Africa a couple of weeks ago or 10 days
ah,
ago?
they're not a lot. It's low, but
They were
so
they were facing the what are they called? The Fab Four or whatever their
true,
top four bowlers are called.
true.
Again, that's a one-off, but they believed
They did
and they
believe.
persevered. And it's not that they didn't have hiccups, right? They were 30 for 4 or something on the first evening.
Let me put it this way: if Rohit and Kohli hypothetically were here, I
Hmm.
would back Shubman to have a good series more. Right now, I think the whole batting lineup revolves around him, and he got the captaincy. I think there's a
Hmm.
lot on his plate. I think it's a lot to expect him to average 40 this series, for example. And his batting is so crucial to the ultimate outcome of the series that I think it's like a lot is riding on him. Now, you made the point, why can't he come through a rough patch like Kohli? But to
Hmm.
that I say, do you think he's Virat Kohli? That's where like I think he's going to be eventually a very good, maybe great player. But we're talking there's levels, right? Like we talk off air all the time. So I
Right.
don't know what heights he can achieve so early. Like for example, is he going to have twin centuries in Adelaide in one of these test matches? I doubt it.
Yeah. I think pound for pound, he's got a little more talent than Kohli
Okay.
inherent, but Kohli's a street fighter, right? Very few people are going to have that. But he just needs to be the best Shubman Gill. He doesn't want to be any version of Kohli. So if he keeps it simple, there's no reason why he can't do well. But it'll be very interesting to see. He averages. Everyone should have a mindset that, hey, if averages are good, it actually puts pressure to do better. But if they are not good, you can just ignore it. That's
That's
fine.
fair. That's
He
fair.
should do that.
Let's put a ball on it like this. It seems like you're cautiously optimistic, and I'm just on the pessimistic side. But I would love to be wrong. I would love nothing more than Shubman Gill to score the most amount of runs this series. I hope he goes well in his first series as captain.
I'm glad you said you would love for him to have a good series because hey, Kohli had 100 in the first test down under. What happened after that?
Bad.
He just kept nicking, right?
Yeah,
So I was the one who said he should have a 50, but I think that's for his mindset. But what you said, I think resonates better with me now that let's hope he has a really good series. And obviously India has a better series too.
100%. Let's talk about another matchup that's crucial to the ultimate outcome of the series. I find this one fascinating. Jasprit Bumrah versus Joe Root, and let's hope we get more than three tests of Bumrah. I don't know. They said he's only going to play three tests, but he's going to play the first
Right.
test. What if the series is 2-2 going into a fifth test? They're just going to sit him. I can't see that. Anyway, Bumrah versus Root. 9 dismissals, only averaging 30 for one of what I think is safe to say now is one of the all-time great test batters. Bumrah is the ace in the hole for Joe Root. And if we don't get Joe Root, at least contain him to an average of 35 to even 45 this series, is going to be a long series. And Bumrah is my main reason why I'm optimistic we can contain him. What say you?
Um, Joe Root in England, and he keeps having a purple patch like every two out of every three series, right?
Yeah,
He was so good even in at the beginning of the England tour in India.
yeah,
So very hard to contain him. And if we're gonna just pin him against Bumrah, I think we're gonna make an error. I think we gotta go hard at him from both the ends with all the bowlers at our disposal, and we have to be smart about it. We can't. He is like he just bleeds you to death, and
yeah,
before you wake up, he's got 30-35, and that's all it takes. So uh, I think I would have loved for Kohli to be the captain. He would have been a lot more aggressive in his field placements and his bowler choices. Obviously, you're going to give the ball to Bumrah, but someone else has to keep the pressure at the other end. And that's where I think Siraj should be putting his hand up because, hey, when Bumrah's not there, who's your top seamer? Siraj. So it's gonna take a collective effort to keep Joe Root quiet even for half of the time. He's he's I mean 100 is at least 100 is given for him
yeah,
at home in a five test series.
yeah. Agreed with that. And I like the point you made about a collective effort. This is just the first test preview, so we're gonna get hopefully much deeper into second, third seamers, especially as we get a little bit more information from the first two tests. I'm hoping for a big series from my guy, Mohammad Siraj. I love that guy. I think he bowls with a big heart. He's had success in England before. As you can see, this picture, that's him.
There you
Lord,
go.
Lord's test.
That's lots.
So let's see, in some batting friendly conditions how we do against Root, and then hopefully we're able to keep him quiet and build off of that, which all brings us to the grand finale here. Give me your match prediction for the first test, and if you feel comfortable for the series.
Uh-huh. Someone's gonna win the first test. That's for
So,
sure.
okay,
I
good
don't think
start.
I don't think these people are gonna play even one draw. Uh, I
Even
I'm
with the
up.
rain, by the way, even with the rain.
Is there rain, as in lack of rain, you mean?
No, no, no. There's like 2, 3 days that are, 50, 60% chance of rain for like, a session or two.
Okay. Yeah, this is England though. It just washes away, and they have good drainage, and I think 90 overs each day for 5 days is more than enough. I think these people, they're going to score at five at least, right? Five and over. We are no slouches, especially in dry weather. So I think it's going to be it. I don't think one or two session, if we lose, it's going to be bad. I think I'm super optimistic, but I'm optimistic about a 3-1 scoreline for us
for the
series.
series
Yes.
final.
I might give them the first one.
Okay, so officially, are you willing to have that go in the Excel sheet, or you want to think about it a little?
No, no, no.
Let's
That's
do
that's
it.
fine. Yeah, we are. Listen, I'm not the Indian McGrath who's gonna say 6-0 if this was a six test series. I'm not gonna go out on that big of a limb, but we are definitely gonna win. If it's 3-1, 2-1, I'm fine. If I'm wrong there, but I think we're definitely gonna win.
Okay, so let me start with the series as a whole. I've thought a lot about this, and
Hmm.
I think one test is just going to be just marred by rain. I think the English summer, we've seen this before where big chunks of matches get washed away. And that's not the worst thing for us. I think the more we get out of here unscathed, the better. I do find myself being more and more optimistic the more and more I look at their bowling because the only reason I'm scared is because our batting looks so undercooked, and if their lack of bowling offsets that, we're kind of back to even ground. I really trust our bowling. I like our fast bowling. I like Jardu when there's a little bit of help in the rough late in the test matches. So I'm
Hmm.
gonna say 2-2 with one draw.
Okay,
And
you're
the
playing it safe, man. Come on, give.
no, this okay. No, but hear me out. Let me finish. So, first test, I think we're going to win the first test. This
Okay.
is this is a big opportunity on a flat-ish deck with with a chance to bring the confidence up of the whole team
Hmm.
while they're a little bit reeling with Ali Pope short of confidence and their whole bowling short of confidence. Wokes, Kars, Bashir, and Tung are taking 20 wickets. I don't know about that. So
Wow.
is that enough of a limb for you? We're gonna win the first test.
Uh, it's you got Deberens, you got Sai Sudarshan if he's gonna come in there. Karun Nair for all his experience in England, he's got to have nerves. So I think it would be a stretch for me for us to win. But again, we won in Australia. That who would have thought that,
In
right?
Perth.
So exactly,
Yeah,
anything can happen. But I think I'm playing the first test safely. But again, England they are very good front runners. At home, they lost, I think that didn't they lose the first two tests in the Ashes and then
yeah,
came back?
they
Something
did.
like that. So they can take knocks and they can come back. I'm actually backing our team to take the first knock and come back stronger.
Very interesting. I think we are basically flipped. I'm optimistic for the first test, less optimistic for the series. But be honest, 2-2 after five tests, you would take that, wouldn't you?
Uh, yes, hindsight, yes, I would take it. And you know why? Because I'm looking at this series not just from the perspective of the next 5, 6 weeks, but from the 25-27 cycle.
True.
If we come unscathed through this series, we have a lot more optimism for all the remaining series, and we could actually make the final, I
I
think.
like it. I
So
think so too.
whether it's 2-1, 3-1, or 2-2, as long as we don't lose, which I don't think we should, I don't think we will, I think we're going to have a good cycle.
Plus, if it's 2-2, we retain the AAT.
AATT.
Oh my God. We need a
Yeah,
better name. We
exactly.
might need a better name.
Yeah.
Coley-Root Trophy 20 years from now has a good ring to it.
Yeah.
KRT.
Much, much. Absolutely.
Listen, I want to say thank you so much to Ojish for joining us for our first non-IPL podcast show. It was awesome. I think we brought a lot of gusto to the show, and I really liked the back and forth with all of our breakdowns and ultimately the series and first test prediction. Thank you so much, Ojish, and you are
Absolutely.
welcome back anytime.
Thank you. Look forward to it. This was great, and let's hope we have an awesome series. Look forward to celebrating.
Let's go, India. Let's go.
Jai
See you guys.
Bharat. Let's go.